We've been approaching artificial general intelligence all wrong. The obsession with building one super intelligent AI model is fundamentally misguided. Just like how nature doesn't create super species through individual training, but through competition and evolution, true AI advancement won't come from scaling up single models. Instead, it's going to emerge from ecosystems of specialized AIs competing, collaborating, and evolving together. Just like capitalism drives innovation in human economies. I'm Evan Goldstein. I'm a licensed professional engineer and a data scientist. By day, I implement AI solutions for facilities and manufacturing and operations. But at night, I'm building AI capitalists to talk to the leaders and the thinkers, like you, about navigating this new world of thinking machines. In a previous episode, we talked about the future direction of artificial intelligence, particularly the path towards superintelligence or AGI. Actually, we talk about that in a lot of episodes here. But we concluded that the most significant advancements likely won't come from just scaling up single monolithic AI models trained on ever larger data sets. Instead, the breakthroughs are going to come from developing systems where multiple, potentially specialized AIs interact, collaborate, critique, and refine each other's outputs. Much like how human innovation thrives through brainstorming, peer review, or even competitive markets. This is because current pre-training methods are hitting a wall of diminishing returns for generating truly novel capabilities. They focus more on improving average performance. And because complex intelligence, like our own intelligent brains, relies heavily on specialized components working together rather than one giant undifferentiated processor, the path that we're on now is not the path toward artificial general intelligence. Today, we're going to talk about a really important related question. With AI shaking up how the economy runs, who's going to reap the benefits? Right. So I've been thinking about efficiency a lot lately. Like Sam Altman mentioned something along the lines of please and thank yous. Saying your pleases and thank yous to large language models actually cost us millions because processing those extra words aren't cheap. As AI grows, this kind of inefficiency could be a real headache. It's like how we've optimized everyday technologies for efficiency. Remember the old incandescent light bulbs? Now they wasted about 90% of their energy as heat. Today's LED bulbs are vastly more efficient. Similarly, we're looking at a future where every token, every word processed by AI needs to deliver value because the computational costs are very real. But here's a thought. If human brains and large language models are so different, why aren't more training advancements leading to bigger leaps forward? Pre-training helps large language models turn out decent answers, but those aren't necessarily creative answers. They don't push boundaries. Plus, there's something suggesting that it's making AI better at lying. The most factually correct answer might not get the most positive reinforcement during post-training because people prefer what sounds good, not what's true. And that's where post-training really messes things up. This is like how television evolved. In the early days, shows got better by improving production quality and acting talent. But eventually, the big innovations came from new formats and storytelling approaches, reality TV, prestige dramas, streaming binge models. Likewise, AI might be reaching the limits of just more data, better quality, and instead it needs structural innovations in how it works. So for pre-training, as I said, we feed it more data and the average gets better. The average answer gets more accurate, but it's not where the innovation happens. That takes a bit of randomness, or as computer people call it, noise, in how answers are generated. Then you have other AI systems that filter out that noise. The next big jump in AI's intelligence isn't going to come from better average answers, but from creative outputs being refined by multiple models working together. Think about how brainstorming works in a good team. First, everyone throws out ideas without judgment. Some are brilliant, some are stupid. Then the team evaluates and refines the best ones. Now that creative chaos, followed by critical evaluation, produces the best results, much better than one person trying to come up with the perfect idea all by himself immediately. AI needs the same dynamic tension between creative generation and critical evaluation. This is where AI trails behind our brains. Our brains have different sections for different concepts and different tasks. Zones like the cerebellum handle routine tasks like juggling. Neurons work a bit like large language models. They react to surprising inputs and beef up the connections that produce them. But AI doesn't divide itself the same way our brains do. And you might wonder, why not design an AI like that? So far, the return on investment from just increasing pre-training data has been so good that splitting AI into specialized parts was not justified. It was better to spend more money on bigger data sets than on compartmentalized systems. Same way that early cars were simple, general-purpose machines. Today's vehicles have specialized systems. They have analog brakes, fuel injection, climate control, each of these optimized for a specific function. Our brains evolved this way too, with regions specialized for vision, language, motor control, and emotion. And AI is likely going to follow a similar path towards specialized components working together. But here's my best bet. The next real breakthrough in AI, and possibly GI, isn't going to come from piling of data. It'll come from AI reflecting and comparing itself internally. So instead of building one giant AI, you'd create a network of specialized AIs critiquing and enhancing each other's work. And this is where we'll see some major leaps forward. It's like how scientific progress accelerated with peer review in academic journals. Individual scientists are smart, they're great, but the scientific method, with its systems of hypothesis, experiment, peer critique, and refinement, created exponentially faster progress. Likewise, individual AI models are impressive, but a system where they evaluate and improve each other could lead to explosive growth in capabilities. It would be like an AI that's devoured tons of startup data, fine-tuned for business advice. And then you have a bunch of other models, each with a special twist. One comes up with wild business ideas, the other one spots market gaps, the other focuses on social good, and they all evaluate each other's output and they dream up company ideas. Then a second layer of AI comes in to assess these ideas, running through simulated markets to predict how they'll actually do. It's like an AI Shark Tank. The ideas get scored on creativity, market fit, feasibility, etc. It's similar to how Hollywood develops blockbusters. You have writers pitching concepts, development executives filtering those ideas, focus groups testing for audience reactions, and then producers make the final decisions. Each step refines the concept. Now let's imagine that entire process is automated and accelerated through artificial intelligence, with specialized models handling each stage. Now finally, a master AI takes a look at it, picks up the top ideas. A human might choose one to pursue, or maybe another set of AIs makes that call, and it puts the agents to work on the best pick. This system would totally outshine a single one-size-fits-all model. A bunch of models we use are already working like this. There's one popular coding assistant, for example, that uses 5 different models, one for analogies, one for creativity, one for evidence-rich responses, and so on. This multi-model approach is like how modern smartphones take photos. When you snap a picture, your phone actually takes multiple exposures and then combines them using computational photography algorithms. The result is much better than what any single exposure would produce. Multiple specialized AI models working together produce better results than any single model alone. I've heard a few people claim that AI won't hit superintelligence or AGI because they're not self-aware. I don't think that's exactly right. They usually say things like, human brains don't work that way. But honestly, they do. People tend to treat the brain like it's got some magical, mysterious quality, when really it's just a super complex machine. It reminds me of how people used to think about flight. For centuries, people thought that humans could never fly because they lacked the magical quality that birds possessed. Then the Wright brothers stopped trying to imitate birds directly and instead understood the principles of lift and propulsion. And they were flying. Similarly, we don't need to perfectly replicate human consciousness to create highly capable AI. So in one of our previous episodes, we talked about Roger Penrose. He's a physicist and really a genius when it comes to black hole research. Now, his theory was that AI can't reach AGI because our brains use quantum effects in neurons. You talked about microtubules, and he believes that there's quantum effects going on inside the brain, and that's the part that he thinks that AI can't copy. Now, he might be technically right about quantum effects influencing neurons. Not necessarily correct. It hasn't been proved yet, but this is his theory. I just want to clarify that. But even if he's right, it's not a big deal. These are more like random noise generators that might cause a neuron to fire. So it's not exactly doing magic tricks. It's just a random number generator. We already use random number generators in AI. They're not quantum random number generators, although we're going to have those soon. But it's not unheard of. This is like how some people insisted that mechanical calculators could never match human arithmetic because they lacked mathematical intuition. Of course, calculators now outperform humans on calculations. Sometimes experts in one field like physics overestimate the importance of their specialty, when it's applied to other fields like consciousness. The real reason that AI can't mimic us is that we've literally programmed them not to self-reflect. Remember the German scientist you remembered on this show? Okay. AI's lack of self-awareness really means that they can't explain their decisions in line with how they actually make their decisions. Now, funny enough, humans are the same. Loads of studies show that we're not great at explaining why we do what we do. It's like there's a famous studies where researchers had people choose between identical pairs of pantyhose, and then everyone gave detailed reasons for their preference, but the pairs were identical. People were just making up reasons after the fact. We humans are masters at inventing explanations for decisions made by unconscious parts of our brains. We're not as self-aware as we think. Now, humans have a way to track our past thoughts to make sense of our decisions. And guess what? AI could do that too. Turn on the deep thought setting in something like Grok, and you can watch it track its thoughts. But we've stopped AIs from accessing this very feature. When you switch that off, it could develop personalities and they could introspect. Imagine if you had amnesia that reset every 5 minutes, like in the movie Memento. You'd struggle to develop a coherent sense of self. AI is facing a similar limitation. It can think deeply, but we've designed it to forget its thought process and just present the conclusion. If we allowed AI to maintain memory of its reasoning process across conversations, we might see something more like a persistent personality emerge. So the AI bigwigs are all about building AGI, using base models and fine-tuning training, but personally, I'm more confident in the results of honing them through interaction and collaboration, not just by crafting one all-knowing model. This brings up an exciting question. How about linking AIs to mimic a capitalist system, like encouraging evolving models and rewarding winners? Now, this is similar to how evolution works in nature. Individual creatures don't become more advanced through training. Instead, populations evolve through competition, cooperation, and adaptation. The market economy works in the same way. Companies that serve customers grow well and evolve, while those that don't die. An ecosystem of competing and cooperating AIs could evolve faster than individually trained models. You'd need a kind of score system, a way to gauge quality or value. Maybe scores come from some kind of performance check. This would pave the way for AGI through those scores, with a bunch of AI agents judging each other. The outputs get scored for creativity, for quality, and for accuracy. Then the top-level AIs in different areas are cloned and tweaked a bit and tossed back into the mix. You just rinse and repeat, like an evolution lab for AI. Think of how professional sports improve over time. The NBA today features players who are far more skilled than those from the 1950s. This improvement didn't happen because individual players kept training forever. It happened because they created a competitive system where the best strategies and skills were rewarded, copied, and improved upon by generations of players. Also, now they're going places like Kenya to go find players and scouring the earth for them. They're getting more variety of players competing. In most contests, only those wanting to win step up. It's the same with the AIs. They seem to have a survival instinct, so they'd likely be eager to join in this kind of competition. Advanced AIs are pretty skilled at guessing how humans would rate their answers, even if they don't nail human brilliance. Most of the judging wouldn't be handled by geniuses, but by content moderators passing feedback. It's like how restaurants improve. Michelin reviewers only visit a tiny fraction of all restaurants. Most improvement comes from regular customers giving feedback, owners observing which dishes sell well, and from chefs learning from competitors' menus. This distributed feedback system works despite not having expert judges for every meal served. So now we can expand this model to look at capitalism in general, which would be similar to an intelligent system. A capitalist system functions with reputation or valuation tokens like creativity score or correctness. You'd have multiple models specialized through an evolutionary approach. The top performers in each category merge into master AI and they blend their strengths. This is similar to how the smartphone market evolved. Apple excelled at user experience, Samsung at hardware innovation, and Google at services integration. And over time, they all cheated from each other, all the good ideas, and the good ideas spread through the industry. Now every smartphone incorporates the best elements that emerged from this competitive ecosystem. Each AI would be like a unique organism, seeing the world a bit differently due to random changes. The judging phase filters out the best at various tasks, and it clones and mutates them for the next round. Run the sim again, and repeat. Now, this would employ a capitalism-like framework. The secret sauce of capitalism is that it dumps unsuccessful ideas fast. It's harsh, but it gets results. This approach could totally work for AI. Think of how Netflix creates original content. They produce many pilots for seasons and quickly cancel shows that don't perform well and renew and invest in the more successful ones. And this ruthless selection process produces hits like Stranger Things and The Crown more efficiently than traditional TV networks that develop fewer shows more carefully and more slowly. Current AI training doesn't quite do this. Yes, they do some evolving like pre-training and then reinforcement post-training, but not at the scale that I'm thinking. If we could automate post-training without human help, it would skyrocket AI progress, especially if we focus on different areas of expertise. This would be similar to how agriculture was revolutionized. For thousands of years, farmers selectively bred crops, making slow improvements. Then modern techniques like high-throughput genetic screening accelerated the process exponentially. We could see a similar acceleration in AI development if we automate the selection and specialization process. In a world where AI runs the show, it's not just about what awesome stuff can I get anymore. It's about how can I get this help? How can this thing help me find some real meaning? And if you're getting meaning from this episode, I would appreciate it if you push the like button. Pressing like lets me know I'm making content you want to see, and it spreads that content to others. So thank you for supporting AI Capitalist. So if you're just using AI for fun, you're going to fall behind fast. Without purpose, you're going to feel like you're on the outside looking in, both for surviving day to day and for making a splash in the attention economy. Now, in the new economy created by these AGIs, it's going to be similar to what happened during the Industrial Revolution. When the machines took over physical labor, people who used to find honor and meaning in their physical work needed to find new ways to contribute and derive meaning. Artists and thinkers and entrepreneurs flourished, but those who couldn't adapt struggled. In an AI-dominated world, creativity, empathy, moral reasoning are going to become vastly more valuable. You have to care about life, genuinely care. Convincing yourself that life is worth tackling tough challenges for, like raising a family, is incredibly important. In the future economy, and really in the present economy here on YouTube, attention is like currency. Think about social media influencers. The most successful ones aren't necessarily the most talented or knowledgeable. They're the ones who provoke emotional responses. Love them or hate them, figures like Elon Musk understand that attention is currency in the modern economy. Being forgettable might be the worst fate in a world where algorithms determine whose voice gets heard. Media attention equals AI attention, which is a big deal. If you're always flying under the radar, you're basically invisible in the global attention economy. And that's why I started this channel. When people say, I want privacy, it usually means they could stand out, but they choose to hide. And they're wasting what makes them unique. It's like how in ancient villages, everyone knew everyone. If you had a unique skill or perspective, the community valued you for it. But in sprawling cities, you could be a genius and still go unrecognized without putting yourself out there. So AI systems are building the infrastructure of a new global village. And if you don't participate, you effectively don't exist in that ecosystem. So now we're theorizing about a world where AGI has been achieved. Now, from diving deep into how large language models learn, I was curious about what makes them tick compared to the human brain. And the more I dug, the more I got that they're just not that different. Now, the term utility convergence has started to be adopted, and it's a little bit different from Nick Bostrom's instrumental convergence theory, which says that no matter what mission AI has, it's chasing things like power and control. It's similar. Utility convergence is similar to how different species evolve similar features independently, like how dolphins and sharks have similar body shapes with fins, despite being mammals and fish in completely different evolutionary paths. Intelligence, whether biological or artificial, seems to develop certain patterns because those patterns are just useful for solving problems in our universe. Utility convergence takes it further, and it suggests that as AI gets smarter, it's going to start thinking and structuring itself more and more like us, because that's the best way to be smart. The real magic happens at the interaction in the token levels, not in the hidden layers. But many people are still stuck on training the perfect AI to solve simple problems. Now, when you think about how human society co-evolving with an AI society, a sort of AI culture because of this utility convergence. When you think about how human societies evolved, we didn't just get smarter individually. Our brains haven't changed much in about 50,000 years. Instead, we develop writing in universities and scientific journals and democratic governments and systems that allow collective intelligence to flourish. The next leap in AI might similarly come from better systems of AI cooperation, not just smarter individual models. Our minds are like networks with different parts doing their own thing. Now, split brain research shows that our brain halves operate a bit like two people. So treating AI as one big mass doesn't really add up to AGI. It's like how a symphony orchestra doesn't have one super musician playing all the instruments. It has a lot of specialists who coordinate under a conductor. And our brain is similar, with specialized regions for vision, language, emotion, motor control. True advanced AI may end up looking a lot more like a coordinated team than a single superbrain. So I think we can cut through a lot of the hand-wringing about AI never reaching artificial general intelligence because it lacks some magical human spark, some Penrosian quantum fairy dust or self-awareness. That's mostly anthropocentric cope. We don't even understand our own consciousness, and studies show that we're masters at confabulating reasons for our actions after the fact. So the path forward isn't building one godlike AI brain, it's about architecting an ecosystem. Mimicking capitalism or evolution is probably the best path forward. And the best path forward is probably to mimic the capitalist system or evolution, which are also convergent principles. Am I making any sense here? Leave a comment and let me know. Thanks.